Hi everyone, in this video, we will learn monitoring and control of pressure in a fermentation. Pressure is one of the crucial measurements that must be made when operating many processes. Pressure measurements may be needed for several reasons, the most important of which is safety, and that's why industrial and laboratory equipment is designed to withstand a specified working pressure plus a factor of safety. It is therefore important to fit the equipment with devices that will sense, indicate, record, and even control the pressure. How would you monitor pressure during a fermentation or in a fermentation? Now, pressure can be monitored using Bourdon tube pressure gauge. There is a diaphragm gauge. There are strain gauges and piezoelectric transducer. We will be studying each one of them in detail. Let's start first with Bourdon tube pressure gauge. Now, one of the standard pressure measuring sensor is the Bourdon tube pressure gauge. Very important, very commonly used, and it's a direct indicating gauge. The partial coil has an elliptical cross section which tends to become circular with increasing pressure, and because of the difference between the internal and external radii gradually straightens out. Now, if you see this C-type Bourdon tube in this picture, it has two ends. This is one end and this is the another end. The one end of the Bourdon tube is fixed and open. Now, what do you mean by open and fixed? If I give you example of the test tube that you use in the lab, okay, whether it's a chemistry lab or microbiology lab, you use a common glass test tube. Now, the top of this test tube is open. When I say anything is open, the top of this test tube is open so that you can add liquid into it, which may be acid or distilled water or any other chemical using a pipette. Okay, so the top of the tube is open. Similarly, one end of the Bourdon tube is open, but the end which is open is also fixed. I am talking about this end. Okay, so this end is open so that it can take the liquid or whatever gas for which you want to measure or monitor the pressure. So it's open, but at the same time it is fixed. This end cannot move. And this is the end which will receive the pressure which is to be measured. The other end of the Bourdon tube is free and closed. So coming back to the test tube example you use in the lab, how the top of the test tube is open so that you can add the liquid, which was this end, this was open and it was also fixed. The bottom of the test tube is how it is closed. This is the reason when you add liquid, the liquid is retained in the tube. Okay, so it's closed, the other end of the tube is closed so that it can retain the liquid. Agar closed nahi hota, the liquid would have, spilled or it must have come down. So the other end of the Bourdon tube is closed, which is this end. This end of the Bourdon tube is closed, but the end which is closed is also free. That means it can move. So one end of the Bourdon tube, which is this one, is open to receive the pressure which is to be measured, but at the same time it is fixed and open. And the other end of the Bourdon tube, which is this one, it is closed because any liquid or whatever will come here and stop. This is a closed end or dead end, I can say, but at the same time it is free, it can move because of the pressure. Now, what next? The pressure is connected to the fixed socket end of the tube, which is open, obviously, and the free and closed end, which you can see this one, the free and closed end, which is closed and free also, it's connected to a connecting link here, and the connecting link in turn is connected to a movement sector, and the movement sector in turn is connected to a pinion, and the pinion is connected to a pointer. So what is the working of this Bourdon tube pressure gauge? I've told you the principle, I've told you the construction. What is the working or how it works? Now the pressure to be measured is connected to the fixed open end of the tube, which is this one. And the applied pressure acts on the inner wall of this Bourdon tube, and due to the applied pressure, the Bourdon tube changes in cross section from elliptical to circular, and this tends to straighten the Bourdon tube, and this causes a displacement of the free end of the Bourdon tube, which is this one. So because of the pressure of the liquid, see, this is a pressure gauge, this is monitoring the pressure of that liquid or gas. So when the liquid or the gas will enter through here, it will cause a pressure on the inner wall. The Bourdon tube will change from its cross section from elliptical to circular. It will straighten out, and it will cause displacement of this free end. So if this free end will move because of the pressure, the connecting link will also move. And if this connecting link will move, the sector will also move. And if the sector will move, the pinion will also move, and the pinion in fact will rotate. And the rotation of the pinion will cause the movement of this pointer as well, as the pinion is connected to the pointer, and the pointer will assume a new position on a pressure calibrated scale. Because this is graduated or calibrated from outside, it will assume a new position, and it will indicate the applied pressure directly, and how much this part will move depends on the pressure of the liquid or gas, whether it's high pressure or low pressure. And depending on how much this will move, the connecting link will move, and depending on how much connecting link will move, the sector will move, and depending on how much sector moves, the pinion rotates, and depending on how much pinion rotates, the pointer moves. So this was principle and working of Bourdon tube pressure gauge, very commonly used in industries. And this is how actually Bourdon tube pressure gauge looks from outside. These are some pictures of the Bourdon tube pressure gauges. After Bourdon tube pressure gauge, let's study the next type of sensor which is used to monitor the pressure. This is diaphragm gauge. Now, when a vessel or a pipe is to be operated under aseptic conditions and you want to monitor the pressure, you can go for a diaphragm gauge. And this is the picture of a nested type diaphragm pressure gauge. It's suitable under aseptic conditions, and the principle is very simple. Here you can see a diaphragm material. This is connected to the process of the liquid or the gas for which you want to measure the pressure, and you can see again here is a pointer and a calibrated scale. Changes in the pressure causes movements of the diaphragm capsule, which are monitored by this mechanically levered pointer. After this diaphragm gauge, we'll study the third type of sensor, which is strain gauges. It's possible to use pressure sensors incorporating strain gauges. What is the principle? If a wire is subject to strain, its electrical resistance changes. Now, why when a wire is subjected to strain, its electrical resistance changes? This is due in part to the changed dimensions of the wire and the change in resistivity which occurs due to the stress in the wire. The output can then be measured over long distances. So this was all about strain gauges. Let's study the last type of sensor used to monitor the pressure, that is piezoelectric transducer. This is an electrical method to monitor pressure, and the principle is certain solid crystals such as quartz have an asymmetrical electrical charge distribution, and any change in the shape of the crystal, if you cause any change in the shape of the crystal or because of pressure, that will produce equal, yes, external, yes, but unlike electrical charges on the opposite faces of the crystal. This is called as piezoelectric effect, and pressure can be measured by means of electrodes attached to the opposite surfaces of the crystal. If you have electrodes attached to the opposite surfaces of the crystal, you can monitor the pressure. So we have studied 4 sensors so far to monitor pressure, Borden tube pressure gauge, diaphragm gauge, strain gauges, and piezoelectric transducer. This was about how would you monitor the pressure, the monitoring. So that these gauges will tell you whether the pressure is appropriate or no. How would you control the pressure? Because monitoring is one thing, control is another. Pressure gauges will tell you how would you, they will just monitor the pressure. They would tell you how much is the pressure. But how would you control the pressure? Now, different working pressures are required in different parts of a fermentation plant. During a normal operation, a positive head pressure of 1.2 atmospheres is maintained in a fermenter to assist in the maintenance of aseptic conditions. The correct pressure in different components of a fermenter or pipelines associated with the fermenter should be maintained by regulatory valves controlled by associated pressure gauges. There is something else also which I have to discuss here when I'm talking about control of pressure. These are the safety valves, and they should be incorporated at various suitable places in all vessels and pipelines which are likely to be operated under pressure. The valve should be set to release the pressure as soon as it increases above a specified working pressure. So as soon as the pressure increases above a specified working pressure or which is not safe, the valve should be set to release the pressure. And this was all about monitoring and control of pressure during a fermentation.